Hey everybody. So for this video, we're going to focus on the hindbrain. And to begin that, we should talk about what the hindbrain is. This is going to be the medulla oblongata, the pons, and the cerebellum. So these are three parts of the hindbrain that we're going to talk about today. Once again, you're more than welcome to watch this highlighted link for a video to talk about these in more detail. So here's just a general idea of these three components. First off, medulla oblongata. This is going to be part of the brainstem. And the parts of the medulla oblongata are going to control a few things: coughing, sneezing, hiccuping, sweating, vomiting, all of these different components that we don't typically think about doing, right? These are reactions that our body are going to do to help keep us healthy, right? In addition to this, they're also going to make sure to keep the cardiac, vasomotor, and respiratory centers functioning, right? Because all of these centers are going to be located here, and they're going to be in charge of making sure that our heart is beating correctly, our veins and arteries are dilating and constricting correctly, as well as our respiratory system. So that is the medulla oblongata. Along with that, we have the pons. Again, this is going to be another part of the brain that's going to be active without us necessarily having to think about it. And the pons are going to be the gray matter of the pons are going to be important for making sure that we keep our sleep, making sure it helps keep us asleep. It's going to help us with maintaining posture, also aiding in respiration, swallowing, and bladder control. So very important. Again, these are autonomic nerve responses, meaning that they're doing it automatically without us thinking about it. And it's very important. And not only that, but the signals from the cerebrum to the cerebellum have to pass through the pons. So the pons are going to be that bridge between the cerebrum, that large part of the brain, and the cerebellum, that small part of the brain, which we're going to talk about right here. The cerebellum is kind of like the mini brain, right? It's that part that we talked about earlier. It's going to be posterior and inferior to the cerebrum. So don't get those confused. Cerebrum's the big part, cerebellum's the mini brain. The cerebellum is going to be the largest part of the hindbrain. It does have two sides, similar to how the cerebrum does. It's going to have a right and left cerebellar hemisphere because it's the cerebellum, right? The cerebral hemispheres are the cerebrum. Cerebellar hemispheres are for the cerebellum in the back there. These are going to be connected by something called the vermis, and the vermis is going to connect both hemispheres together. The cerebellum is also going to have these cerebellar punticles, which are another name for nerve tracts that are going to connect the cerebellum to the brainstem. Again, everything is connected. So what does the cerebellum actually do? It is going to modulate and coordinate voluntary movements in the body. All right. So this means it's going to maintain muscle tone, posture, eye coordination, eye movements, as well as helping in just learning different motor skills. So in other words, if you're standing up and you're balancing, just literally just by standing up, right? You're not balancing on a leg, you're just standing. What's going to help coordinate that movement to make sure you don't just fall over is the cerebellum, right? The cerebellum's main purpose is to help coordinate your body so that it functions correctly, so you don't just start falling over yourself, or you start losing while you're driving, you start swerving, or while you're walking, you start falling over, right? It's going to help maintain those motor functions for your body. Very, very important. All right, so with that said, these are the three main components of the hindbrain, a little bit of information on them. If you have any questions about these parts or their functions, please let me know.